Picture this. You're an ambitious chemistry grad student living in an RV and struggling to pay his way through college. You're forced to sell dime bags in your small country bumpkin town to a bunch of meth heads and likely sexual deviants. But you do what you have to survive. You've watched too many episodes of Breaking Bad and Nile Red on YouTube to ever think of backing down. One day, before heading out for one of your usual dope runs, your uncle Nelson asks you to pick up a package for him at one of his suppliers and swears it's already been paid off. So, without questioning your obviously trustworthy uncle, you take his truck and head off into town to make some money for this week's courses. Once at town, you meet your usuals before hopping into the supply store to get some, supplies. After buying a bag of completely legal and no reason to be inspected upon bag of soil, one of the local policemen, let's call him Richard, decides to frisk you on suspicions of holding drugs on your person. Feigning to be insulted by him, you move on and meet up with your uncle's suppliers. In a plot twist about as surprising as finding out your college-aged daughter is having a lesbian phase, they reveal that your uncle actually hasn't paid for this product and has a lot of debt to pay off. However, since they claim he is good for it, they decide to give the product to you anyways, but not before giving you a thinly veiled, subtle threat about paying off the debts next time. And if there's one thing everyone knows, is that drug dealers are very well known for not following through on their threats. Anyways, you head back to Uncle Willie and give him the goods, telling him about the warning you were given before he nicely dismisses it and thanks you for your help. You head inside the RV and start growing some more product for next week's dealings. With nothing left to do for the day, and since your town is a literal void of fun and excitement, you do the only thing you can do in a small town. No, I mean, you sleep. You awaken, but something is odd. You hear a siren and see flashing lights outside. This can mean only one thing. Aliens are real, and they want you to be the peace broker between your species. Fuck, you completely misjudged that one. Sadly, there's nothing you can do for your uncle, so you put your college-level thinking skills together, and after filtering out all of the propaganda, your brain kicks into gear and you floor it for the next city. Luckily, you arrive safely and park your RV off into a secluded hovel before figuring out what to do next. The next day, your uncle messages you, saying that he's glad you made it out and that he had some leftover cash he left in dead drops long ago that you might find useful. Why he would incriminate himself after being arrested is about as logical as leaving cash stored in places with giant X's marked on them in pretty visible locations. Anyways, you collect the dead drops before the shock of all that has happened to you finally kicks in. Your whole life could have ended had you not been so lucky. Panicking, you think about your RV, the only source of comfort and stability in this godforsaken situation you're in. Fuck. Okay, well, it's like they say, right? When it rains, it shitstorms. Running towards the smoke in the distance, you gaslight yourself into believing that it must be something other than your RV. Surely somebody probably just had a barbecue accident. Yeah, you'll be fine. Everything is going to be... Oh. Why, God? Why? Why? Oh. You see a note left for you threatening you to stay off their turf. Whoever they is in this scenario, you don't know. Somehow, though, your uncle can sense that this happened. Drug powers, I don't know. And he tells you to contact him so that he can help you. You eventually get consoled by him and he tells you to rent a room at the nearby motel to set up shop there. Luckily, you have enough money to get started, and so you're off to the races again. You get some supplies and start doing what you do best. Horticulture. It ain't easy, you have to give out a lot of free product in the beginning to build up a client base, but you slowly start pulling through. You eventually start making okay amounts of cash and even get to meet Seth Rogen. Weird. Anyways, you get more of a reputation and even manage to buy your own storage unit to expand. Eventually, your uncle contacts you again and says that you should consider upping your game and getting into producing ADHD medication. Unfortunately,
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
And you have to improvise with the next best thing. Methamphetamine. It's basically like ADHD medication, you tell yourself, as you start dipping your toes into this mostly untapped market. The big bucks start coming in, and eventually you even get introduced to some black market dealers. You realize this is not something you can do alone, and so buy your own slave, Jesse Pinkman-esque assistant to help you grow. Unfortunately, the allure of wealth and power has seeped into your very core, and you start shirking your studies. You now have bigger ambitions. Why be a chemist when you can be the chemist? You tell yourself. Your shit is fire, literally, and not even the tuberculosis family could hope to stop you on your rise to power. You keep growing in wealth and influence, and so too does your product. Eventually, you start making more money than you can legally handle. To solve this, your uncle suggests you invest in a money laundering business to help clean your cash for you. As you rake in the money, your paranoia grows, and you decide that it's time to get yourself some protection. This is your turf now, and any jive turkey who hopes to stand in your way is going to taste your wrath. It's not long before the TB crew gets wind of the news of your growing expansion on their turf, and soon after, they start antagonizing you. At first, you try your best to avoid them, refraining from violence wherever possible. You are only 20 after all. That is, until that fateful day. You had no choice, you tell yourself, still trying to wash the already cleaned blood from your hands like Lady Macbeth. You try to continue on with your enterprise, ignoring the gnawing feeling of guilt and suspicion growing inside of you. You mull over everything that has happened and find that the only way to deal with the consequences of your actions is through narcissistic self-delusion. That guy deserved it, you tell yourself. I was minding my own business and he antagonized me. If anything, I'm the victim in all of this. Those assholes forced my hand and made me commit an act I never wanted to do in the first place. Well, you know what? If that's the game they want to play, then I'll just have to beat them at it. Your motives are different now. Not only do you have ambition and greed in your heart, there's a festering malice brewing beneath the surface. You now don't leave your house without the strap, and your fingers itch at the thought of one of them testing you again. Please do it, I beg of you. Bitch, I wish you would, is the only thing circling your mind as you continue to expand your empire. More time passes, your money, power, and reach grows as you accumulate more properties, more dealers, and more respect. But it's like the great Notorious B.I.G. and his lube-handling potential murderer said, "Mo money, mo problems." You start getting an even bigger ego. It's not enough that people buy from you now. They need to acknowledge you, respect you, fear you. There's a new sheriff in town, you tell yourself, and your power trip has gotten out of control. So much so that you now beat your dealers for not bringing in as much moolah as you think they should be. Your product is perfect, so clearly the problem is with their attitude, and that's nothing a quick whack with a bat to the head can't fix. Eventually though, the local police start hearing about your exploits and put an arrest warrant out on you. Unfortunately, this happened at the same time as your Scarface binge fiesta, and you couldn't care less what anyone beneath you, a king, wants or needs. You hold them off for a while, either evading them or just straight up fucking shooting them if the logical approach is too inconvenient. But still, you continue onwards and grow even more. That is until that fateful day. You never saw it coming. You see, the cops realized that your schizophrenic delusions of grandeur would make you an almost unassailable target. To them. They figured what better way to get to you than to feed your own ego. You eventually get news from a potential dealer who is offering to sell to the most luxurious of elite clientele for you. They heard of your reputation and felt like only you were truly worthy of their supply. Your ego has become so Herculean in size that you don't for a second question their motives. They start working for you and bring in the big bucks. You don't even think to question why they eventually ask to meet you in a secluded area with no witnesses. All you see is money and power. You agree to meet up. So arrogant are you that on this day you decide to leave without even reloading your gun. Everybody respects you so much now that you have no need for protection.
Oh no!
All is going well, he's polite and respectful, as he fucking should be, and you naively turn your back on him as you muse on about your plans to expand to the greater tri-state area. That's when you realize you fucked up. You never saw it coming. The police set up a mole to get you to drop your guard and set up a sting operation to catch you. What you didn't expect is that this was the brother of the store clerk you killed so long ago. And they didn't want justice. They wanted vengeance. So they arranged with some of their friends in the force to hunt you down and slaughter you. You try begging for your life as you flee, a pathetic shell of the visage you exuded before, but they didn't care. This was it. You're bleeding out, dying, and suddenly have a grim epiphany. At the end of the day, you could have avoided all of this. Your life would have continued, your power would have been
Over 9,000!
and you would have been the next Pablo Escobar. Or if you had just subscribed to the channel. Thank you once again for watching. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving a like and sharing it with your friends. And most importantly, please subscribe so that the algorithm can see that you people enjoy this. Otherwise, thank you and have a great day.